We are live! Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Show Must Go On Line. Today's guest is Preston Max Allen. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm having a delightful day, actually. I've had a really beautiful and fulfilling day.
We love to hear that. Tell us more.
I got to connect with some community members and have some nice discourse about, the wants and needs of my community. And I got to talk with my agent and meet a new lovely member of my team about some projects. So I'm hopeful about that. I got to speak to my father, who I know is watching. So hello, father. And then more than that, I get to, cuddle with Grogu and hang out with you, which is so exciting to me. How's your day going?
I mean, so much better now that we're chatting.
Dream.
Yes. I had an exciting meeting earlier today that I can't talk too much about, but stay tuned, everyone. Very exciting. Oh no, we've got internet problems. That's always fun. All right, Preston will be right back. You know what? This is live theater, y'all. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes people pop in and out for a second. So stand by, y'all. We will get this figured out in just a moment.
I've never lost internet before. That was devastating.
I was devastated.
A year and a half of pandemic. I asked you how you were, and then I disappeared. It's tragic.
Very tragic. I'm great. I had a meeting, and then we had a Showtreon chat. Showtreons are the BWay Show Patreon squad. It was a fun impromptu video chat out in the field. It was awesome.
I love that.
Yes. And we've got some people saying hi already. Hello. Yes, Andy, one of the Showtreons. And yes.
Amazing. I'm so glad the Grogu PJs are also here. I know I was on Twitter and you can't really, they're little animated Grogus and they're sleeping and having all sorts of fun and eating all sorts of people's children.
Yes. Ooh, and quick shout out to John, who is on the series as well, loves our Star Wars stuff. Yes. May the 4th be with you.
I actually have decided that I'm going to have Grogu with me in everything I do.
Yes.
That's very comforting.
This is the way.
I'm so worried about my internet now. So if something happens, and I disappear again, take that moment to say a nice thing about yourself that you love about yourself and cherish about yourself. That'll be a nice way to spend me going, why is my internet working?
Same with you. The funny thing is I've never had that happen with a guest, but my internet sometimes here just goes away for a second. So I was like, so same thing with you. Please just say a nice thing about yourself. We love that.
That's better. My instinct was going to be like, I'm going to improv the lyrics to Billy Joel's The Entertainer, which I don't really know very well. But I was like, I'm the entertainer. I was like, that's what we'll hear if you disappear. I love you.
Is it bad that now I'm like, I'm going to disappear for a second?
The one song I really don't know any of the lyrics to is the one I was like, I'll do that one.
That is the one that I will choose to sing for everyone. I mean, this is what we do here. Amazing. So we've got our Star Wars love here. I was watching The Mandalorian in honor of you today.
Thank you. I should watch The Mandalorian in honor of me. My favorite thing about The Mandalorian actually is that Amy Sedaris is in the Star Wars universe. I think that to me is really the most thrilling thing ever that's ever happened in the Star Wars universe. Specifically, Amy Sedaris holding what definitely looks like the not robot doll of Grogu, and just always acting with like a puppet. It's my favorite thing in the Star Wars universe. Everything else is fine. I was kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fine. It's fine. Whatever. Who cares? So, okay, I'm obsessed with your creativity on so many levels, and we're going to get into all of that. But let's stick with the Star Wars of it all and your Twitter name being Trans Mandalorian Obsessed.
I'm so glad you brought that up because it came to my attention recently that like I read it as trans man DeLorean, like I'm a trans Mandalorian. But then people were like, I just thought you were like an ambiguous Mandalorian who is trans. And I was like, I mean, also shout out to the trans Mandalorians out there. Like, you do you. Specifically, it's a play on words.
I 100% picked that up from the start, and I love that.
No, I should change it at one point for like professionalism's sake, but not yet. It's not time.
I mean, please don't do it today, or else May the 4th be with you is for shame.
It actually is my TikTok handle, so it's really hard to find me and know who I am on TikTok. Very elusive because it's just not my name. I pop in and I comment on people's Tigers videos, and they don't know that it's me, and they're like, "Okay,
who is this?"
I'm like, "Just keep singing," and they're like, "Okay."
They're like, "Thank you?" Question mark.
That was very much my experience on TikTok. No one should follow me on TikTok. That is actually the opposite of endorsement for following me.
This is the anti-endorsement starting it off.
Please don't follow me.
Okay. Don't follow Preston on TikTok, but follow on all the other things.
Please, yes. I let loose.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to get into We Are the Tigers. We are going to get into CARRIE 2. We are going to get into all of the things, but let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. And let's hear your origin story. What got you into theater and writing and all that jazz?
So shout out again at my father. I come from a very musical household. My dad is a writer. He writes plays and musicals. He's written for soap operas and TV. And so like we were always listening to musicals. My mom was an actress, is now a cantor. So always listening to musicals. Like I knew all the lyrics to Chicago when I was 8. Like that maybe was not the right move, but worked out in the end. Like knew all of Eponine's track like really early on. So that was definitely like the formative years were like, I didn't know that plays were on Broadway. My dad didn't tell me that because he's from New York. So I grew up in Texas. I was mostly alive in Texas because I was born in LA, but like only for 5 months. So I'm almost thoroughly Texan, but my mom is from Chicago. My dad's from New York. We're very Jewish and all my siblings and I are queer. So not like typically Texan. Texan.
Obsessed with this.
So all the vacations, like a lot of our vacations were to New York to see shows. And like I said, my dad didn't even tell us plays were on Broadway. My first play was when I was 19. I saw The Heiress. I saw Jessica Chastain. But anyway, I didn't know. I love musicals. It was basically all I listened to. When I was 11, I saw Wicked, and then I went back to Texas and was like, what is the point of anything if I'm not seeing Wicked all the time? Like truly an existential Wicked-based crisis, which then had a revival for Spring Awakening. So that was my experience growing up. And then because, my dad is a writer and because I knew like that was a possibility of a career, and because I'm very thankful to be very supported in my art by my family. I was writing when I was very little. I didn't transition until I was 24, so I was not super. I was social and I had friends, but I like wasn't super. So like I would spend recess writing, even though I was like I had friends. I was like, no, let me do my art. And I was really comfortable like creating stories and doing that. So that was where I was most fulfilled. My cat is chasing her tail like a fool. I love you.
We are going to get a cat cameo, aren't we?
We certainly could if I move my computer. My house is too messy to show you right now. Hero, we're talking about you. You're beautiful.
So beautiful.
So I was writing. I'm the youngest child. So my formative, what I was viewing aside from musicals is my brother is gay, and so we were watching a lot of. He is gay and also likes Sex and the City. So my brother is gay, so we were watching a lot of. So Sex and the City was on a lot. My parents watched a lot of Law and Order SVU, and I watched a lot of like that, and also like Disney Channel. So a mix of like Lion King 2, Anastasia, Law and Order SVU, and Sex and the City contributed to like my aesthetic as a young writer.
I can see this now. I can see it. It's all coming back to me now.
Honestly, like really vivid, like what if Disney Channel did Law and Order kind of stuff that I was writing in my early years. My 4th grade teacher was like, you shouldn't grow up slower, kiddo. When I left some pages in the printer. Oh, hello. I was just talking about you, Dr. Elizabeth. I'm going to send you an email later. Look out for me.
Ooh, we love this.
So I was doing a lot of that, and I started writing screenplays, and I just wrote all these dreadful dramatic screenplays as a child. And then the first time I adapted our 8th grade show. I adapted Sammy Keys and the Hotel Thief as our 8th grade play, and I was in 7th grade. That was 7th grade because in 8th grade I was Miss Hannigan. So 7th grade I had my like play debut the legal adaptation, but like we're past that. It's fine. And then in high school, I, for fun, wrote a pilot of like a Disney Channel musical, like a fake Disney Channel musical called Emily in Production. It was about a young woman. This was before Victorious. Victorious crushed my dreams. No, it was fine. But it was about a young woman who got into an art school, and her name was Emily Davis, and they actually meant to accept a really famous Emily Davis. And this one wouldn't necessarily have gotten in otherwise. So the show was really about this, person who didn't have the same talents as the people she was surrounded by, who really wanted to be in that industry, but like didn't get into that school, really like learning how to like love herself and embrace what she was good at and find new skills. And I'd written the pilot for that. So we were given the opportunity to perform that as a live musical on stage at my arts high school with resources and rehearsals, and my friends and I, and Nico Gutierrez was the composer on that. We give credits stay all lifelong. My friend Raleigh Tyler was the director of that, and we're still very, very best friends. And he helped Tigers come to New York, which was, full circle. So we put that show on, and it had tap numbers and it had chorus number. It was huge. And we did our damnedest. And it was really fun. And I went, wow, I really like this. I really like how I can actually do this. Whereas all my terrible screenplays, I don't know how to hold a camera. So that was, and it went so well. That's really honestly what it was. It went so well that we were asked back to write the Mystery Dinner Theater. So we wrote a musical, same team, I believe, that we wrote a musical called, Killer Cast something. It was about, basically they were trying to solve a murder. The team that was casting a show was trying to solve a murder of one of their actors. And they thought it was one of the people who was auditioning for the show, because she was the lead, she got murdered, and they were trying to figure out who of the auditioners had killed her. And
foreshadowing.
Truly. And well, the twist was, I'm not going to tell you. There's literally like one hard copy of this script, and no, I don't so it won't come back. But that one was really fun because the songs for that are all their motives. Like it was their 16-bar cuts or 32-bar cuts, but all like they were singing a kind of sketchy song about a potential motive. So I had a lot of fun with that. And I was going to go to school for writing. And I got into the USC screenwriting program, and I was like, amazing. But then I was one of the stars of our high school musical that year, which, it was an art school. There was a lot of talented people, and I somehow booked it, and I went, oh my God, the world needs me to perform. I got a Betty Buckley nomination, which is our tunnel into the Jimmys, for some context. And I went, if I don't perform, the stage will weep. So I was like, great, I'm going to major in performance, and went to a school where there was no auditions because I missed that boat. So I went to Columbia College Chicago for musical theater performance, and that quickly changed. I quickly realized I did not work out well in what in the musical theater program I was in, and the way I was gendered by that program. That was not going to be the route for me for many reasons. You're kind of trained, I think, in many ways to like be able to fit into a chorus and to be able to match a very gendered perception. And I was like, whoo. So I stepped away from that, did some ASL, which I really enjoyed. I only did that for a year, but I would like to get back into that. I trained at Second City. I had gone there mostly to train at Second City, and I loved that program. I have some, I'm very candid about some of the more intense aspects that were a little bit dangerous in how we do theater education, but that was very formative for me. And I graduated with an acting major, weirdly, I was never in a play, cobbled out of credits from musical theater to all my like extra stuff to like comedy, slammed into one acting major. But the biggest thing that I was doing there was I had started writing We Are the Tigers freshman year of college. So I walked away from my high school experience being like, yes, I deserved that role. I was so great as the lead in my high school musical, very formative for me. But also there were so many talented women in our school who were not cast in that show, because that show had basically 2 female roles and a lot of men. And it was there was a lot of women in our program. So I was like, oh, wouldn't it be great if I'm going to write a show, I would love to write one with a lot of women for schools like this. And so I was like, what do I love? Horror, like B horror, teen horror. What do I write pretty easily? And I was teaching myself guitar. I was like, Green Day, pop, punk, great. So I went forth and started writing that under my entire college experience. So every semester, like once a semester, once a year, we would get together and like read the script, and I'd like play through some songs. I'd get feedback. It was terrible. It was a very bad first few drafts. Totally different score, lots of different characters, different, like very different show. Which is why I talk a lot about like, just start that musical and don't get married to anything. I talk about writing when you're young, especially, and anything, but especially when you're trying out a musical for the first time. And so, yeah, I graduated accidentally a year early. And when I realized that was going to happen, I was like, oh, I really wanted to put on a show before I graduated. That was going to be my thesis when I was an interdisciplinary major. I wasn't when I graduated. I did college weirdly. And so I asked the theater collective if I could put on Tigers, and they were like, sure, why don't you cut some characters? And I was like, amazing. And that changed the whole show. And in 2 weeks we rehearsed and put on this, the very nascent kind of first performance draft of Tigers. And that was literally the day before graduation. We put it on for our one performance, off book, a bold choice for a 2-week rehearsal process during finals. So it wasn't quite the words of the show, but the audience reception was really great. And I was like, wow, I really want to keep working on this. And in Chicago, which is where I went to school, it's where I am now. I have moved back to Chicago. There's really great play development. There's now some new work stuff, but there wasn't a great new musicals development pipeline. Like that isn't, and it's very clear in New York what that is, and it's not as clear here. Thank you so much. Yes. And so I called my friend Raleigh, who had directed my high school shows, and I was like, if I move to New York, can we put on a reading of Tigers? And he was like, yes. So I got a job working part-time house management and then box office management at Soho Playhouse. I was at Soho Playhouse for a couple of years, running all their shit. And I went and we put on this reading, and Raleigh had invited a producer that he was working with on another project. And that producer picked up the show for an industry reading from that very DIY reading of the Jean Frankel Theater. And from there, the team has changed a few times, but from there, that is how the readings started happening, the concerts started happening. We found the team that ended up doing the show. And that was over the course of 2014 was the first industry reading. And 2019 was the show. So that was 5 years, right? Yes, that's math. 5 years of working on that on and off. We did a production in 2015 and in LA, and that was delightful and complicated because I was really at the cusp of like transition stuff, being like, I wasn't aware that I was trans, but I was really struggling during that production. And then I got to do it when I was after transitioning, which is really, really working on it after transitioning was really healing. And that is the where did I come from? Where did I go? Cotton Eye Joe update of my life.
Thank you for saying that, because I was about to sing it.
I think about Cotton Eye Joe all the time. Where did he come from? Where did he go?
Where did he come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
I have a lot of questions.
These are the questions we come for.
If CW wants to buy that pitch, it's one of my sexy CW pitches that I do a lot on Twitter.
Ooh. Okay, so we have so much to unpack here. First of all, I have to put this this comment that I see here from Dr. Drama. Preston's joy is pure beauty.
Thank you so much. I'm on a new anxiety medication.
Aren't we all? I talk about my anxiety a lot.
No, today was a good, and it's just nice to like hang out and talk like with you. Like this is a nice moment for me in a world of like really difficult discussions that I've had lately. They've been really serious, like as early as this morning. It's so nice to like honestly just like talk about my work, and, like, my career, my art, and we will talk about the Broadway stuff too. But it's very nice to have them to be like Tigers.
Tigers. We are the Tigers, mighty, mighty Tigers. Go!
And that's the spoilers. That's the end of the show.
Spoiler alert. There might be some spoilers here.
Okay.
People beware. This was your spoiler warning.
I deeply spoil the show everywhere.
I actually really love on the cast album that there is that 2-second little like hey fans, if you don't want a spoiler, this is your time to stop.
I feel like I should send one of my little exclusive merchandising things to anyone who is actually waiting. Like, has anyone listened to the album and like, great, I'm gonna stop.
I'm gonna stop.
Like, who are you?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Person out there who's done that, please contact me. My DMs are closed, but you can comment on Twitter.
Wait, this is so funny. So John, who said, We Are the Tigers Love. I love that show. We were talking the other day, and he was trying to say something. I was like, wait, I haven't seen it. Don't spoil it. And I was like, just kidding. I'm going to listen to the cast album. So fine, you can spoil it.
There's also,
do you get that a lot?
Most of the people I communicate with now have seen it. There's also a bootleg I cannot get rid of on YouTube. I report them all the time. And there's always one that's hiding. So I know people are like watching it.
Oh no.
It's fine. It's helped a lot.
What if I found it and then saw it before you you got it written?
I sometimes will say that they're up there before I report them. So sometimes on Twitter I'll put a fleet up being like, get it while it's up there if you're
You have 3 hours.
You can watch it after this. It's missing some things and someone's head is in a lot of it. So it's not exactly how my dream of you experiencing the show. It's not. The stage directions don't say, and please put someone's head constantly in the center of it.
Right there.
But it has helped a lot of people find it, which is good.
Yeah. You know, just to take a 2-second moment of this, that I before quarantine, you know, I'm from New York. I've seen a lot of theater. I've been very grateful and lucky to have seen a lot of Broadway. But just from like the actor's perspective, I was like, you know, bootlegs, like they can be so distracting for actors and everything to see the light. But then I've seen some actors even post on social media like, yo, if you have like a tape over the light and I can't see it and it's not distracting, like, I don't care. I was like, oh my God, I've never heard that take. And now that we're all here and people are talking about accessibility, and I'm like, maybe not bootlegs, but there should be a different way that people can get more theater.
And someone will always come in and give all the AEA reasons why pro shops are impossible for us. But I'm like, I hear you, but accessibility for shows, especially when they close, I'm like, if we could figure out how to document the last night of a show or something, like, yes. Like they close, they go away, like document them.
Document it.
Like, I know it's illegal, but like, I wish there was a legal way that once those shows close, they can be shared with the world. I want that. I want that for Tigers. You know, it sucks when your show just goes away. You're like, oh, I had a show.
Yeah,
it's gone. There's no talking about it.
Beautifully
so I'm rooting for them to work that out.
Yes. And Elisa saying, but so the artists get paid. Yes.
That's very important.
Yes.
That's largely why I take bootlegs down. I don't care, but like the artists didn't.
Yeah. You're an artist.
Yeah, sometimes. Some days.
But we should also mention that like the very well done cast album is out there, which is so incredible.
The cast album is gorgeous and yes, does live eternally representing the show. Everyone should go listen to it. You can buy it if you want. I rarely see money from that. I don't at this point. I mean, you don't have to buy it. It's not gonna help. I'm not relying on that money for anything. But yeah, please listen to it. I worked really hard.
It's so hard.
And everyone really sounds so good. It came out so good. Band's amazing. Orchestrations, Ranger, Patrick Sulkin, my partner in So Many Crimes. Just a good group.
Speaking of partner in So Many Crimes.
I can't imagine where this is going. Too many places it could go.
What if I just left it at that and was like, respond?
So yeah. I think it's a terrible secret. I have no secrets. I'm very, very clear about that on Twitter.
So we kind of like jumped into We Are the Tigers, but we haven't given like the rundown or the bio. So can you give people like, if people are just watching this and they don't know what we're talking about, and we keep saying like partner in crime and a killer time, and they're like, what are you talking about?
No one dies in We Are the Tigers and everyone's fine. And
everyone's fine.
They're all okay. No, that's not true. We Are the Tigers is a teen horror slasher musical in which I will say the characters deal pretty authentically with what they're experiencing. So that's where I can describe that show. About a cheer team that has had a really bad run. Their last season ended with a couple of the cheerleaders doing some missteps that led to a viral video of them failing a stunt, and that is what they are recovering from. And they have their annual sleepover, and their cheer captain Riley is like, it's going to be an amazing year. We're going to fix we're just positivity going into this. And immediately the team is not really responsive to that. And all the problems of the past come bubbling up. And some of the people get murdered at that sleepover. And they're like, they try to figure out who did it. They do a very bad job of figuring that out. So they throw someone under the bus. And then in the second act, they're like, whoops, we definitely didn't blame the right person. And there's still a killer on the team. And they have to figure it out. So that is a brief version. Your team tries to solve murders, doesn't work. Yeah, it's also, I mean, it's very much about the pressures, the extreme pressures of being a young person, a young woman in high school, and trying to meet all these standards and trying to be the person you think everyone wants you to be, and how hard that can be from, some of the characters experience that just, a personal, some struggle with addiction, some just struggle with really difficult self-perception, and then some do experience that pressure in a murdery way. So.
Let's hope less people experience that in the murdery way, but in the musical world,
I think the musical is very clear that that's bad.
Okay. That's a good message to say.
The musical is very clear that that's not the takeaway.
I have to say, I love the cover art for it. It's so smart to have the cheerleader, and then the shadow is a cheerleader with a knife behind her back. Obsessed.
That's great. We've had a lot of fun with those shoots. One day I would really like, I want to do it with like a girl wearing flannel, holding a very because it's very there's very angsty flannel clad queer people in the show, holding a bloody trophy. That's another. I want to pair those two images. I want the cheerleader with the knife and then the flannel clad angsty trophy holding.
It will be anxiously awaiting.
So people make beautiful fan art of this show. Someone make that. Yeah.
Somebody out there in the ether. Wait, I was just watching last night your Zoom reunion with the cast and creative team. Oh, that was so lovely.
But they're wonderful.
And it was so cool seeing all the fan art that you put up there, and people are so creative, and clearly there's this huge following for this musical, and that must feel so good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's it appeals or doesn't to people in very different ways, and there's some people who I think don't necessarily are in conflict with the campiness of it plus the authenticity of the women, and there are some people who really, really, really connect to that and really, really connect to the characters, usually younger people. And that is very, very meaningful. And I'm really glad we got the album out, or else the show probably wouldn't have gotten to those people to whom it means a lot.
Right.
And so I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, the art is incredible. I no longer really peek in the tags, but when I do, there's this really cool interpretations of character, really in-depth evaluations of things. Sometimes I'm I'll read something and I'll be like, that's beautiful. There's no way there's time for that. There's no way there's time for that in this musical. If we ever get a television show, we will unpack some of these things. But it was really cool to see people respond, because it is largely what it is. It's a teen slasher that aims to realistically unpack archetypes that young women are often confined to. So we get a lot of space to do that with a musical format, to really get to know their inner thoughts and feelings. So it's really cool that the way in which we were able to deconstruct those archetypes really connected with people, and they really want more. So we're like, that's great. I feel really positive about how that was achieved. And who knows, maybe one day there will be more.
Ooh. Love it. Do you have a favorite moment in the show?
The Kate Take a Walk moment is just one of my favorites, because my brother came to see a song at Tech. If you saw the talk back, he came to see a song at Tech because he was really skeptical about replacing a song that had been in the show for a long time. So I was like, if you come at this moment, you'll see the run of the song at Tech, which if you know Tech, there's 8-hour block, the song 8-hour block. And he came a little late and ended up seeing them rehearse one transition over and over and over and over and over and over again, which was just the line, "Take a walk, Kate, Kate, take a walk." And so that he would always grab my hand during that line whenever he saw the show. And I was like, oh yes, the monumental line. But there's a line that's so funny to me, which is it's not funny to me. I'm not like, haha, myself. But there's a line really authentically in character for Riley, which is at the end of the show, she goes, I just wanted to cheer and people died. And like she means that, like the character means that really authentically, but everyone would laugh. And it was just so funny to just be like, oh, like that's to me when the show really like works. It's like a character's like being super authentic and it engages in different ways. And sometimes that's really emotional for people. And sometimes they're like, wow, when it's serious, sometimes the show is just very weird. And I love that. I love when people are like, that is true to the character and very weird.
Yeah.
Because when I was writing around, I was like, she just wanted to cheer and people died.
And then people are cracking up.
And people find that funny. I'm like, you're right. It's funny. It is funny.
Yes. Yes. So, okay. And anyone who has audience questions, please drop them in here. We've got one comment here.
I will say, so I'm not looking at the comments. I'm fully, so you can bring them to me if you
I will bring you the comments. I'm going to read this out loud. Milo, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Love when albums can be recorded for shows, even if they're not otherwise officially recorded audio-visually in their entirety, even though getting a cast recording can be so difficult as well.
Yeah, I mean, the cast recordings are expensive. They're very expensive. But I mean, that was so meaningful. But it's also really funny with Teicher is that, like, for me, growing up in Texas and loving musicals, like would cling to those albums and try to figure out what I was missing, and then the show would be so illuminating. And for a lot of them, I could fit. For Spring Awakening, I was like, I don't know what's happening here. That sounds nice and also sad.
Yeah.
Some of the metaphors are really popping, but I think they're all depressed. And then for Next to Normal, I was like, oh, I think I actually understand a lot of it. That was a really comprehensive album. For Ragtime, I was like, I get it. I'm in it. And for Teicher, some people are like, will listen to the whole thing and be like, I had no idea there was a murder in that show. You'll be really shocked when it comes to a town near you.
That's so funny. So wait, what part of Texas are you from?
I'm from Fort Worth.
Fort Worth. Oh, yeah. I don't know if I told you, but I was a reporter in Odessa / Big Spring for 2 years.
Odessa, was there a lot going on?
There sure was. You realize when you're a small town reporter that there is a lot going on, but then when you're from New York and you're like, it's just a different type of a lot going on.
I love that. I was diminishing of Odessa. I'm sorry, Odessa.
Sorry, Odessa.
Over here. This will represent Odessa.
Thank you, Odessa. Actually, as if Odessa weren't like a relatively small enough place, I was the beat reporter for Big Spring, Texas, which is much smaller, but I love them. I have some good friends I've stayed in touch with, and it's kind of cool to think, like, whenever I hear people talk about Texas, I'm like, have you been to Big Spring?
Of course, the destination. I mean, for me, I'm like, with Texas, I'm like, there's a lot of energy that is so wonderful and so positive and so beautiful. And if that energy went towards sometimes it can be very hostile to people, to types of people. Obviously, I think to not say that Texas can be a scary state to live in as a queer person, in many different ways. I think for many different people, the people who have that kind of Texan energy and hospitality and are really embracing of like queer culture and queer people is so beautiful. I'm like, if Texas full force gave that energy, it would be really moving. Like, it'd be really great.
Yes.
And the people who do are really, really special. Like I do, my parents are part of a PFLAG group for like parents who have trans kids in Texas. And the people who run that group and are part of that group are just so beautiful. So when people say like, oh, Texas deserves, the leaders it has, blah, blah, I'm like, no, there are really wonderful people who are really fighting against that. I want to honor them.
Yes. Beautiful.
PFLAG of Texas. PFLAG Fort Worth branch.
Yes. I know. I actually covered in Austin, Texas, there was this rally going on and their thing was y'all means all. And I love that. And there are pockets, but hopefully it can expand and that can grow. I
have my parents will say that it is already very much expanding and growing, and I'm hopeful. When bless your heart actually means bless your heart, that'll be the day.
That'll be the day. What a pull quote right there. So, okay, I feel like we could talk about tigers forever, but we do want to like touch upon all the areas of your life. So if anyone has any like dying tigers questions, please, I'm keeping an eye on them. But we do want to talk, since we're on the subject already of trans representation, we should talk about the panel that connected us, which was the trans representation on Broadway.
Yes.
Talk about that, what that was like to be a part of it for you.
Yeah, I really recommend everyone watch that panel, which was led by Dr. Alyssa Hurwitz, and you were the moderator, and Kaylin West was also present and leading. And we had an incredible panel where basically, in a very rare moment, trans and non-binary artists were platformed to talk about what trans representation is like on Broadway. And it is not going well on Broadway. I mean, a massive problem that kind of shed light on how deeply unaware Broadway is of representing the trans community and understanding the trans community was with Tootsie, where Christian Lewis wrote an incredible article on that I will let them, we can find that link, that's great, that really detailed that, there's a lot of shows that perpetuate harmful, like dress up and deception tropes that are really misleading and that feed into a lot of negative stereotypes about trans people and trans women. And so Broadway, of course, was like, great, have Miss Doubtfire and then also have Some Like It Hot on top of it. And we're going to tour Tootsie, and amazing. And so that was, and I do know Miss Doubtfire tries. We talk about that on the panel, that they are really trying to respond to that. There's no way around the fact that they're caught up in this, Tootsie did not respond well to it. Tootsie was fairly antagonistic in some of the way. They took some merchandise down that had some transphobic language. The fact that they had that in the first place, concerning, and the fact that they apologized privately to people who had spoken out about it, concerning. Like, not a big enough problem to discuss publicly. It is a problem to address publicly. So that was really disconcerting. And of course, in the last Tony Awards that were live, that show was celebrated. It won Tonys, and we're all sitting there being like, the end of this show, the whole comic climax is what happens when Dorothy's boyfriend finds out that Dorothy's not who this boyfriend thinks she is, which in the show it's not a trans story. They say that this is not a trans character. It does feed into really negative stereotypes that are held by the people who would largely watch the show when it tours, and so it's not funny to watch that at the end. It's actually very scary. And the trans panic defense in states is if you're going on a date with someone and you don't know they're trans and you find out and you hurt them, like, there are defenses against that because you didn't know and you had it's very messed up. And so for Broadway to be like, and then sing You Will Be Found is not great. And we need to address it, and it needs to be loud. And with Some Like It Hot coming especially, there's kind of this relentless just barrage of shows that need to address the problems here. And then with Jagged Little Pill, we have seen the erasure of a non-binary, of a gender non-conforming character, of a gender questioning character. It was definitely not cis in and Out of Town, and then a lot of language was used that was really harmful and really hurt a lot of people to explain away this issue that is much more complicated and nuanced than it's being treated, especially when there's so little representation for trans people, for non-binary people. There's a lot of carelessness in the response to it, and I'm actually really hopeful that there will be an addressing of that soon. I won't speak on that more right now. I am hopeful that we will be able to have opportunities to talk honestly about that, and to and we'll see what happens. But right now I want to stay positive about some of the cogs that are in motion, and hopefully effects of this panel that I'm able to bring to people, and hopefully get responses from, because I've realized I share some spaces now with people who are involved in the show, and I'm trying to have those discussions. So I'm hopeful. We'll say that the damage has been done, and the fact that it's taken this long to address it, and this team has really struggled to understand how to address it. This shouldn't have been a problem in the first place, but I hope that there's an unpacking of that in the future that feels healing. That is my hope. So those are 4 instances that we, when my friends and people are very excited for theater to return. I see people going, oh my gosh, theater's coming back. And I'm like, that's great. And I wish you all lovely employment. However, for theater to come back and for these issues to not have been pretty substantially addressed and worked through. And like, that's not like, that's nerve-wracking to me. That says, you know, if we're still looking at the same situation, you know, if we go from celebrating Tootsie at the Tonys to Jagged at the Tonys to Some Like It Hot, no, no, we're not going to do that. And then we're not going to sing Build a Prom for Everyone. No, we're not going to sing that song at Kinky Boots. That's just like, we love everyone. We love everyone. As far as I know, the actual lyric, it's not. I'm sorry, Cyndi Lauper. You were harmless in that. You were not the one who perpetuated harm in Kinky Boots. Kinky Boots does harm, but not via Cyndi Lauper. Yeah. So yeah, and Kinky Boots has a very transphobic line in it that I think alienates trans women from the inclusive messaging it tries to purport. Which are not, you know, when I bring these things up, my friends are kind of like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. I never realized that. And partially I'm like, you know, because I didn't watch from that lens for a long time.
Right.
And also we have a lot of producers who really try to keep those conversations from becoming mainstream because it could hurt their show. So Tootsie, which was, from my understanding, erasing comments on some things and privately apologizing. And so they are keeping the conversation from the community. Like I had a conversation with a really lovely ally yesterday who was like, I had no idea. And I'm in a lot of these spaces with a lot of these people. And I was like, you are being kept from the information deliberately. and that we need to, you know, we all need to be really vocal. We all, you know, if no one auditioned for those shows, they wouldn't happen. Right. So like so many other shows to audition for.
Everything you're saying is so real, and even more important why Christian has those articles out about Tootsie and Jagged Little Pill. They really, really get at the heart of some of the things that if you weren't in these like Twitter conversations or whatever boards, you just wouldn't know because it's not really spoken about. But once you read it, you're like, there's a lot that we really need to unpack here.
And, you know, Jagged made this 20-minute video explaining what had happened. And there was a discussion from the writer, the book writer, that like, you know, she didn't know that writing for the queer community was so complicated. And I'm like, you know, for producing teams, for writing teams, there is a responsibility to know before the pen hits paper. The authentic identity is of the people you're representing. Like as the writer of the show, you know, she used the word monolith, and I'm like, that's not a monolith. And so there's a creative team responsibility and a responsibility to maybe, you know, this is complicated, but there's a lot of people who don't work in theater who are given theater writing jobs. And when the representation is so scarce on Broadway and we are not seeing trans masculine leads ever, we've seen, no, that is not true. We've been seeing Ty Defoe, who's a Two-Spirit performer, was in Straight White Men, and I have a lot of problems with how the show handled things, but I can't say it. No one, but if you are in a different medium, that maybe there is more, you know, there's a lot more content, there's a lot more trans people in other mediums, but when you're on Broadway and there is so few opportunities to see authentic representation, to be so unclear about your perspective as the writer, I think is not great. The research needs to be done on what it takes to write specifically for Broadway. And to me, you know, there's the option of doing that kind of wash of specificity and going, well, we'll appeal to a lot of people and we won't be specific and it'll be okay, which a lot of shows do. Or they're saying, hey, this might challenge an audience that we rely on, like financially, but they need to be challenged. And we're going to make that choice. We need to be putting, you know, is an audience of conservative tourists going to be nervous to see a show with trans people in it? I'm like, they should see that show. That's what I said.
Then they need to be educated.
They need to see that show. They need to see young queer, non-binary, and trans people. Like that's so important. Aside from Jagged, like the people need to see the representation that Broadway is afraid will lose money for.
Right.
Across many, many, many identities. Which is not a monumental statement. I think. So, I'll say it again.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to like take it all in because there's this huge conversation and there's the racism on Broadway, the great white way, you know, and so many people have been speaking out about it, and Karen Olivo and Adrienne Warren, two major stars who are like, we will not work until things are changed.
Yes. And that response, you know, needs to come from prominent white performers.
Yep.
In a big way. And I know that I haven't read Sutton Foster's statements. I think there's a reason I haven't. I don't think they've been fulfilling. And I think about it from a writing perspective. You know, I talk a lot of shit about shows on Twitter, and I was like, I was going to list some of my favorite musicals to show that I like musicals. And the writers were so white, like just the prominent musical theater writers are overwhelmingly white. And so I was like, wow, I've just been getting, and that's not, you know, obviously not all musical theater writers are white, but a lot, that's not a secret, a lot of them are. And I was like, wow, I've been getting stories from a major industry that's nearly entirely through a white lens. Like that is something, you know, I need to sit with, like certainly as a white writer who contributes to the industry, and also like, you know, so when I have a platform, how am I going to share that? How am I going to make sure that, you know, I'm not in rooms of white people, that I'm stepping out of those rooms and saying, well, this is not acceptable, like, and removing myself from those spaces. Or if I have any power, making sure that that's not the space that's created. But to look back and be like, wow, this art I love is told through one very specific lens that is not, and often telling other people's stories from white writers. I'm like, I feel like we've all been kept from authentic storytelling by the Broadway industry. Like, you know, from everyone who is a part of the identities that's being excluded to people who could really, white people who could really learn from hearing other perspectives. You know, and I know that Strange Loop, you know, is kind of dancing around Broadway. And I know that that's a show people are like, wow, tourists are going to be, that show will be a big old tourist question mark, but also one of the most important shows that they could see. So I really wrote Michael R. Jackson's The Strange Loop very just, I can't even explain it. It's deeply personal and deeply affecting. And I hope makes it and sets you know, shows that that's possible. So that's, I mean, that is something that, you know, I realized far too late, was looking at like the lists of writers and being like, this is unacceptable. But also there's so many writers that I know who are not on Broadway yet, who are, you know, who could bring those much needed voices and should be. And I'm like, I think there's enough change in some of the institutions and some of that, hopefully those platforms are coming kind of en masse.
Yes.
Strange loop and soft power. And you know, then, you know, go see Wicked, go get some cheesecake.
Yep. All of that. I mean, when I saw A Strange Loop, I was obsessed. And shout out to Elle Morgan Lee.
Shout out to Elle Morgan Lee, always, who just did the Danish Girl workshop in the UK, was playing Lily. I'm so excited. You know, we had a moment the talk back where Elle Morgan said that she had never felt herself seen on stage. She'd never seen herself on stage. And thinking of her playing that role and like people who she will be the person that they see and be like, oh my God, that's me. I'm like, that's just so emotional. It's very emotional. Like, I wish that wasn't on her shoulders. And I'm also like, she is such a warm, incredible, and talented human. And I'm like, she's going to be a very like life-changing role model to a lot of people.
So much love for Elle Morgan. Slimbo, who just made an appearance, Slimbo heard Elle Morgan Lee and was like, oh my God, such a big fan.
Oh.
We are big fans.
Hero's in her yoga studio. I'll show you at the end of this. Hero has a yoga studio.
Perfect. Well, so this is a great transition, because we would be remiss if we didn't take a moment to hear your beautiful voice. Should we take a moment to have a little performance?
Sure. I'm like, I wasn't like, I'm not going to be nervous. I play this song all the time. I write my music. Hell, I write music. I don't write sheet music. I don't write, I play by ear. My brother once was like, Taylor Swift records into voice memos, and then I was like, me too. I'm not Taylor Swift. So this is how a lot of my music gets written. It's just just me and a guitar and a lot of pressure to succeed. This is a song I just really like playing. I was like, I'm going to play something I enjoy. Doesn't stress me out. And this is from a musical I wrote called Never Better / Remission. The title is always in flux. That I wrote when I was really young, and that needs, I think, my older eyes on it later before it will be ready for production. Has a lot of music I really, really love. Has a lot of themes that were really meaningful to me at the time when I was writing it, and now I think I'll be able to craft a little more profoundly. In my old age. No, I mean, like, I wrote it when I was the age of the character, when I was around 21 to 24, and I've since gotten to a much more healthy place. So this show is about a young person who's 21 years old who is diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia and already disconnected from her family for many reasons, and doesn't know what to do and doesn't know if she should treat it. So everyone said, that sounds like a laugh riot. We're going to do it in our season. It will make no one sad, and everyone loves happy music. no, everyone was like, no, it's too sad for our season. So that was that show's experience, but I really like a lot of music. And this song lives in it sometimes and doesn't live in it others. And it's where her roommate, Davy's roommate, is like, wouldn't it be cool if you left the house today? So that is the song. Okay. I'm like, Preston, do I want to like watch myself? And I'm like, I can't go back now. I just have to perform it. Okay. It would be easy to sit on the floor, feeling empty and hopeless with no place to go. It would be easy to stay here and no one would know. You could choose moments to paint on a smile so that everyone thinks you're completely okay. And it would be easy to smile for a second and cry for the rest of the day. Is that what you want? Is that what you think will be best for you? Is that what you need? Is this the way that you think you'll survive? You don't have to be happy, but you have to be something. You have to figure out why. You have to try. Nobody teaches you how to move on when you're not in the group that just knows what to do. If things that they say should be easy aren't easy for you. And I could be terrible, I could go mad. They already define me by how far I've fallen. And it would be easy to say that they're right and that I do not matter at all. Is that what you want? Is that what you think will be best for you? Is that what you need? Is this the way that you think you'll survive? You don't have to be happy, but you have to be something. You have to figure out why. You have to try. Why should I make it out the door? Why should I put my shoes on when nothing's there for me? Why should I make it out the door? Why should I put my shoes on when nothing's there for me? Oh, I'm gonna make it out the door. I'm gonna put my shoes on when nothing's there for me. It would be easy to throw your life away. You don't have to stay. Easier to break. How much can you take? It would be easy to die. You have to figure out why. You have to try. that what you want? Is that what you think will be best for you? Is that what you need? Is this the way that you think you'll survive? You don't have to be happy, but you have to be something. You have to figure out why. You have to try.
Yay!
I really liked how I was like, I don't know where I'm going to look. So I'm looking entirely at my guitar the whole time. But the song was about being anxious, so I think it like fit.
It was beautiful. Oh, wow.
Grogu, where are you? We have Odessa now.
Hi, Odessa.
My unnamed, this is new. Odessa's new. I saw her at a Walgreens.
This is perfect. Yay!
Thank you for that. I really I like playing that song a lot. I want it to be in the show. I talk a lot about like writing inspirational songs and like hollow inspirational songs on Broadway. So I'm like, does that one actually have, I'm like, am I doing the same thing? And I'm like, that one's at the beginning of the show. That's the version of inspiration when they're all still really sad. So they learn. The theme of that show is truly like try to stay alive. So
wow. What's the name of it again?
It's called Never Better, but on the internet, some of the songs are from Remission. So we did a Tigers concert in 2015, and what we said in the concert but didn't realize we didn't say live was that we did like an intermission where it was 5 songs from different shows. So Valentine, What You Don't Know, and there's another song we did from Remission. But Stay, Valentine, Try, What You Don't Know, those are all songs from Never Better. So I like the music a lot. It's very folksy and not hard to digest. It's just very hard and easy for me to be like, eh.
That was so lovely. I was like feeling all the emotions. Sometimes when I was thinking during it, I was like, I don't know if I should keep my camera on because I'm like just vibing out to it. I'm like, you don't need to see me vibing.
Well, I didn't see anything.
Oh, good.
Other than my guitar, Nick. This guitar is named James.
Hello, James.
I'm kind of realizing I might end up in a room with Kristen Stewart professionally one day, and I'm not sure what to do. There's no plans for that. I'm just realizing the way I'm like, okay, that could happen now. That's not completely out of the picture. I don't know what to do about the fact that, this guitar is named after her. Her middle name's James. It's Jaymes.
Love that.
Loved her since The Messenger, since 2007.
Wow.
Fun fact. Everyone who knows me is like, that's not a fun fact. It's a part of your DNA.
It's a part of your bio, basically.
Erasing from the bio. Like getting ready for coffee. I was working with someone who does know her, and so I was like, better. I don't know what you do about your celebrity crushes when you're like a kid, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll work with that person. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. We're all just gonna have to figure it out. I'm sorry.
Please.
I'm with her. I'll be very normal. Just, very fun.
It'll be cool.
In my youth, I was like, I think I'm gay, and here's why. And
did you write an essay?
Honestly, in high school, I wrote a very long essay on why gay marriage needed to be legalized. But no, Keira Knightley was my ride or die. I came out because of the movie Sky High. I was like, this plant girl is really, really doing it for me. And then Keira Knightley in like Pirates and Pride and Pride, like that era of Keira Knightley, I was like, oh my God, like women. And then, Kristen Stewart, I was like, what happened was I was really obsessed with Kristen Stewart and Elliot Page in my youth. And since then, both of them came out. So I was like, I knew kinship, felt the vibes.
I love this. I love this so, so much. Yay. Ooh, we've got a great comment here. Feels relevant. Fantastic virtual performance.
I have never done a virtual performance. I realized whilst figuring out while trying to understand where to look. I've had other people do it on my behalf for shows, but I was like, oh yeah, like I don't know. where to look. But thank you, Milo. That that made me feel really good.
Yay, getting lots of love, as you should. So I realize that it is roughly an hour now. Do you have a few more minutes for a few extra questions, or do you have a hard out?
I don't know.
I like to be respectful of your time.
No, I'm gonna watch Mortal Kombat later, but not right now. It's perfect. It's too early in the night for my Mortal Kombat prep to even begin. In terms of what I'll be ingesting.
Slimbo totally agrees. He's right there with you. So we had a question here before the song that I want to get to from Molly. If Tigers were to be adapted as a TV show, what areas of the show would you like to expand on?
I think there's a very clear Pretty Little Liars-esque path for it. How to do a musical TV show that's not a little kitschy is tough. There's always been this how do you do musical and also serious? If Pretty Little Liars was a musical, we'd be like, what's happening here? But yeah, I think what happened before the sleepover, I think the sleepover would come later. I think you'd get to know, all the characters before that event. Get to spend more time with Ava pretty early on. I think you get to know about their family lives. Riley did not kill her parents. They're just never there. That's important. And then, so how, because obviously they all have probably a lot of you don't know. In the show, they all have very intense relationships. There are two stepsisters who really are clashing. There are two best friends who are really having a hard time dealing with one leaving the next year for college while the other one's staying, and also addiction and recovery. There's another character who feels really alienated from the team. So I'm like, well, what is she doing when she's not with the team? Because, she talks about having a boyfriend. She has a life outside of the team. So I'm like, oh, what is that before they all get in the space? And then what happens between, the acts is also, would be very interesting to explore. They go through a lot. Because, they blame their own girl for murder and then have to sit with that for a long time. So yeah, I think that's what I would expand on. It's definitely the interpersonal pre-sleepover relationships.
Thank you. I like that. Great answer. I was also thinking of this as you were singing. I'm now going to get the words wrong, but you were singing something like, is this the way? I should stick to just words and not sing it, but my musical theater loving heart tries it. Is this the way? And then I was thinking of May the 4th be with you. This is the way.
This is the way. Oh my God. What a Star Wars themed song I picked for you. My inspirational song about literally putting your shoes on. So Star Wars themed.
It all comes together.
I mean, whenever I'm like, this song was too inspirational, people can cite that one and be like, yeah, but buddy, oh my God, you're a bar. You're like, leave the house for 5 minutes, please. My version of that.
So good. Actually, Elisa and I saw Indoor Person back off Broadway. Right before shutdown. Actually, I have no idea when it was. My timing now of 2019, 2020 things, it happened. We saw it. It was great.
Chaotically Jagged was the show I saw before shutdown. Oh, no. I left with that. Yeah.
So many feels. So, okay, we've talked so much about all these other things, and I teased CARRIE 2, this unauthorized musical. Can you talk about that, please?
Yes, I do a lot of parody musicals, and I do want to shout out that we're releasing a music video in the coming weeks from a new one I'm working on with my partner, Edward Precht, that I work with on satire parody musicals. CARRIE 2 is based on a very real film called The Rage CARRIE 2, which is Carrie's very real sequel from 1999, in which it's the same thing, except for it's Carrie's half-sister, and she's super punky and angsty, and it's, instead of prom, it's football and a sex tape controversy. So that is CARRIE 2 in short. I need to be clear that I did not make up those characters or plot points. They are diabolical and they did not come from my brain. And so, yeah, I love CARRIE. I'm obsessed with everything to do with CARRIE. I don't honestly know why. I just think I decided to be, and I have gone forth and done that. But I think the themes of that project are so relevant and the way in which it changes. I think, but I say I don't know. I do know. I really am fascinated by how it changes adaptation to adaptation. Okay, Hero in her yoga studio just did cat pose. Did you see it? Oh my God, I always try to get her doing cat pose. Oh my God, Hero loves Carrie too. Yeah, so I was like, if I could do anything in my life, it would be write the musical to Carrie. Of course, it already exists. I agree with about 30% of that music, but that's neither here nor there. And so I was like, what would I, like, if I could do Carrie, like, what would I do? And I was like, wait, I can write a parody musical of a sequel, and legally nothing can stop me. So I had been working, it was between doing Tigers with Jenny Baker, who I met in 2015 doing the show, and she was a fiddler and I was not doing anything. And I was like, you know, you're doing a beautiful, not punk music, and I miss writing punk music. Do you want to do a Carrie 2 musical? And she was like, great, yes. And I wrote it in like a week and then edited it over a month. So it was it came, sometimes something will come from my soul and I'm like, that's amazing. That's beautiful. Sometimes other things take 8 years. I'm like, that's terrible. But that one just burst out of me and I really am very proud of it. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, we tried to do it every Halloween. We didn't do it. We've done it 4 years in a row. There's a company in Chicago, 4. We did it in 54 Below, and then a company in Chicago did a premiere production of it. It's written as a concert, but they did a production, which was exciting. And then they did a reunion concert, and then we did a concert at the Pit, and then we skipped a year. So if anyone wants to do it for their Halloween show, it's very easy to produce. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. It's actually my most like traditional musical theater score right now, because it just follows like a really like classic structure. And I just feel like it's very true to the film. The thing is, obviously a lot of it is clearly parody, but also sometimes if you take really seriously what they were doing in the film, it is unavoidably very, very funny, even at its most dramatic. Like, I'm sorry to Carrie too, but that's a show I really love. That's all online. We filmed the 11:30 54 Below concert. You know, there's some things that are missing or went awry, but it is a fun representation of the show. And then I also, in terms of my parody life, I also keep an eye out for every Christmas now. We do a very Netflix Christmas musical, now streaming live, which we ideally do in people's living rooms, but this year streamed and put online, which is a parody of all Netflix Christmas movies. It's about Vanessa Hudgens, literally the character of Vanessa Hudgens, is trying to is going to a small town where there is no Christmas. She hates Christmas, and she's trying to buy a family-run inn and build a hotel chain. And of course, she learns the magic of family and I guess small hotels. And it's great. And her best friend Judy Greer helps her along the way. And the prince is a general in the army, so his name's Eric, so he's Eric Prince. Get it? And then I wrote that with Edward Precht, and right now we are working on Amy Adams Wins an Oscar, which is a satire musical, radio play musical about Amy Adams' desperate quest to win an Oscar at all costs. And since you all are familiar with me now, it's murder. The murder is at all costs. But that one, we have a lot of fun with. I'm very proud of the score for that one, and I hope that Amy Adams has a sense of humor. I'm so sorry, it's really not based in reality. We didn't even know she was married and had a child until like 9 songs in, because we don't deal. We made up representations of SNL type representations, but the dramaturgy on that show is not realistic. So. Like, they're like, Isla Fisher's husband is in the country for the duration of Sacha Baron Cohen's not in this musical. Oh yeah, Isla Fisher is who she murdered. Anyway, among other people. So that's what I'm working on now. If you're like, Preston, what are you working on now? I would say a lot of really hard-hitting plays about the trans community, and also that.
What a combination.
We need levity.
I love that you're getting like the hard hitting, you're getting the trans representation, and then you're like, and
there will be trans people in Amy Adams Wins an Oscar. I just also write sometimes very specifically about trans issues. Thank you. We are working on it. If I just wrote the second act, we would be done. Ed did the whole book. I'm the one.
Do it. Come on.
We are releasing a song soon. that the rehearsals for tomorrow, I'm so excited, that is a big part of the show is obviously Amy Adams' best friend, Saoirse Ronan, as we all know, is really sad because Amy's been really distracted with her Oscar quest recently. And so Saoirse Ronan sings a ballad missing all the times that she spent with Amy, on road trips that obviously happened in real life. So that's the song we will be recording. Please look out for Saoirse Ronan's ballad. It's actually called a Katy Perry song. So look out for a Katy Perry song sung by Saoirse Ronan from Amy Adams wins an Oscar. And also some hard-hitting trans issues. Yeah, that's my brain is doing a few things at once.
The layers right here. We're like an onion. Ooh, look who joined us.
Oh my gosh. Elle Morgan.
We love Elle Morgan.
Thank you. We were singing your praises. We were literally speaking them, but we were speaking about how well you sing.
True.
Oh my gosh. Everyone, please go follow Elle Morgan Lee right now on all social media.
Everything, including TikTok. I don't know.
You have a TikTok? Do you have a TikTok? And I don't know.
No, I don't know. Do you, Elle Morgan? We need
private. My TikToks are private.
I don't.
Yeah.
I do. I said I don't. I've said I don't have a TikTok so many times that I've trained my brain to say I don't, and I just got one. So now I do have one. Follow me at BUA Show.
I will follow you, and you'll never know because I'm very elusive. At this point, my TikToks are truly for me. Like, I will hear something I will want to sing along to. I'll be like, great. I'll hear a sound I want to react to. I'm like, amazing. I'm not trying to get views. I'm not. That's not working for me anyway. So I've truly given up. I'm not good for you. Navigate. Like, I'm not good at that level. I'm not gonna Ratatouille anything anytime soon. Like, that's not where my
you don't know.
Maybe I wrote a song from the Up musical that was real fucking depressing.
Preston.
My agent loved it though, and that's what matters. She's like, you did a good job. I was like, TikTok didn't think so, but you. Thank you. Oh no, everyone they're seeing me. They're hearing that they can follow me, but I really want them to also follow you. But thank you. They've been celebrating me for an hour and 11 minutes.
It's true.
Past the threshold. But yeah, no, I'm like, if you were like, what show do you want to see right now? I'd be like, Danish Girl, starring Elle Morgan. Like, yeah.
Same. Yeah. Yay.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say like everyone who's watching this, like, go watch our talk back too. Great.
Yes.
No, it's less joyful. No, it's less joyful. I think that's fair to say. The tone is less smiling.
BUA Show after hours.
Ooh. When we can all be in person, please host that event.
That would be so much fun.
Not at Characters, but
Preston. Yes. No, let's make it happen. It's gonna happen.
And then I'll fly down for BUA Show after hours at Le Pan Quotidian. I miss Le Pan Quotidian. Did anyone hit a place in quarantine where you're like, I miss Le Pan Quotidian, and then you were frantic because that's who misses Le Pan? I'm so sorry if you missed Le Pan Quotidian on a regular basis.
I'm really enjoying how this is getting off the rails. It's very unhinged. Yes. It's the best.
Yeah, I'm like, it's Mortal Kombat is the end of my days, so I'm just like happy to hang. But I know that, it's 1:13 in our time, which is also my birthday. It's January 13th. So,
I'm January 14th.
Wait, really? See, if we hadn't meandered, we wouldn't know that we were both Capricorns.
Look at this.
I'm so close.
Birthday buddies. And now everyone else knows too. How beautiful for you all. Now you can double celebrate us, like right at that corner, right as it's your birthday into mine. We love it.
That'll become a national celebration, I'm sure. Everyone's like, oh yes, we're adding that to the calendar.
As it should be. So, Elle Morgan's asking where you are right now.
I'm in Chicago. I'm in my apartment. I'm not able to get vaccinated until another 90 days. I had COVID in February and then I had surgery, and now they're like, you cannot get vaccinated for a while. I don't know why. Wow. But I don't really leave my apartment, which might explain my energy. I do. I go for walks. I go for long walks, and other than that, talk to my cat. And I buy Squishmallows at Walgreens. Then I Lysol and isolate.
Yep.
So they also quarantine. And no, but my sister's coming in this weekend, which is very nice. So I get to
Yay!
my sister and her partner. I get to see my family, which is really great because now they are all vaccinated. So as long as I hang out with vaccinated people.
Okay.
And everyone's like vax shaming, or like people who can't get vaccinated. And I'm like, so I cannot. I want to so badly. Like, let me get vaccinated. But
it's not your fault.
No, it's not my fault. You know, sometimes you do everything and you see no one and you get COVID. You do everything right. no one at all.
Are you feeling better now, though?
Yeah, I mean, I was just really tired the week before, and I thought that was normal because I'm always very tired. But then they were like, oh, you have COVID, and it pushed my surgery. I had a hysterectomy that I'm currently recovering from, as I like to say that is the surgery I have, because we are normalizing men without uteruses.
Yes.
So my life has been spent as a man with the uterus, so now I'm like, some men don't have them, and that's okay. That's taking a moment for that space. So yeah, I mean, and I had a really good experience here. UIC Chicago was very gender confirming, and I'm accidentally working with them too on their language. So I came in, I was like, what if when you called trans patients, you said reproductive health instead of gendering it, like when you're calling a trans masculine person or a trans man? And they were like, wow, talk to someone about this. And then put me in a room with someone. I was like, it was all I really had to say.
End scene.
We're working so hard on this. And I was like, thank you. I don't have that. That's all I have to say right now. The takeaway is, I have stories for you off camera about this week.
After hours.
The consultations have been very. I can't even begin to comment on them.
That's fair. Well, what we can ask you to comment on is a nonprofit or charity that you want to shout out.
Oh my gosh, my favorite story, to wrap this up. So I have an artist. I have a lot of tattoos. They're all very music-based, except for E.T. and my tree. And I haven't gotten one in a long time. And I was like, it's a favorite lyric. I'm not going to say which lyric because I like to keep my tattoos fair. Obviously you'll read it on my body at some point if you see my leg. And I was like, I could tweeted at my favorite artist, one of my 5 favorite artists. And I was like, if I donate to a nonprofit, will you write a lyric out for me as a tattoo? And I did never expect people to respond because Nicole Maines won't respond to my DMs. It's fine, but we would get along. And so she actually wrote back. It's the artist Kay Flay. She's incredible. I love her music. It's very incredibly specific and personal and awesome and very unique sound. And she wrote back and she just DM'd me. She was like, hi. I was like, ah. And she was like, you don't even need to donate. And I was like, no, I would love to donate. And then she gave me a lot of options. I was like, you're the best person in the world. I've had such a bad week. This is incredible. And so I was like, no, please, I really do want to donate. And so I want to shout out the organization that Kay Flay passed along, Project Q. It's Project Q, just letter Q.me.me. It is a community center that provides safe space for LGBTQIA youth and
oh no, we're frozen. Let it go. Let it go. Preston, we made it so far. We had a little tech issue at the beginning, and now it's happening again. And hopefully we can get Preston back. Definitely go check out that organization. We will post about it, and hopefully Preston will come back so we can wrap it up. Oh no, so unfortunate. Preston said if this happened to share a nice thing about myself, which I thought was really sweet. I'm really digging my curls today. They, long hair. I haven't had a haircut since Freestyle of Supreme's opening night, so it's been a journey, and I'm really happy about that. And yippee!
You all think of a nice thing about yourselves while I was gone.
Yeah, I took your word.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you had that moment, because if I had not lost internet, you wouldn't have had a moment to really appreciate yourself. Oh my God. I think that the three of us should do a show at some point. We should do a talk show.
Please.
I'm volunteering for that. Anyway, Project Q, you should check it out because it's awesome and haircuts are very formative for queer people. That was a very brief way of saying that. This has been wonderful.
This has been so wonderful. I love your energy. I started following you on Twitter and then I was like, oh my God, this person is amazing. And then we were on that panel and I'm like, Preston, come on my series.
I'm so glad that's what you got from my Twitter. Because like my Twitters have just very impassioned about social issues and have truly me just being like, hey, the CW. You know, sexy Wii Sports Resort is one that I really believe in. Sexy Wii Sports Resort. Like, hey, the CW, you know, what is it? Sexy Oregon Trail. I really believe in.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those. And then also pictures of me. I sometimes think I'm very handsome and that the world should know. And I take those moments.
As they should.
So.
Oh wait, okay. In the whole, we're wrapping this up, but in the trans man DeLorean of it all, that photo of you with Baby Yoda, Grogu, I'm obsessed with. It's so good. And the trans flag.
I had taken it because I was trying to really drive home what my handle was. I was like, it's this is what it is. It's trans man, DeLorean, the Grogu. Where is Grogu? Where did I fling Grogu? Oh, here's Grogu. where did I sentence my child to? Oh my gosh. What if I didn't wave goodbye with Grogu? I missed but I think in all my things now I'm going to be doing this. I have to do a lot of pitch meetings in the next few weeks. And I think this will help. It won't. Everyone will tell me not to do this.
I'm trying to be Grogu, but it's not as cute because Grogu's. Do you like the name? Are you a fan, or do you keep saying Baby Yoda?
No, I think Grogu actually is perfect. Whatever calculation they did to put that together, like kudos. I think rarely does any creative idea work so well with such high stakes. I looked at him and I was like, yep, Grogu, amazing. Put him on it. Put him on everything I own, please.
Please. Yes, we found this and we love it.
I love that. I commissioned an artist to do a Renaissance Grogu for me that I have to get printed soon.
You'll have to show me.
I'm very excited to print my Renaissance Grogu.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the only art I've literally ever commissioned.
It's perfect. So where can everyone find you on social media? Any last things that you came into today wanting to share to all of your fans? And this is your time. Promote.
I have nothing right now. Like, I'm going to do a big concert with a large team of wonderful people. And I am very hopeful that Elle Morgan Lee will be performing in a part of this event. We've been in contact about it. That's not a surprise. That is going to be celebrating trans and non-binary artists in musical theater during Pride Month. So keep an eye out for that. If you are a artist in the trans community, a non-binary artist, or a non-conforming artist, we are looking for original music for the next few days. You can submit that to the Broadway World link is on my Instagram. I don't know quite how to direct you otherwise. So yeah, we are looking for performers and artists. We're also just looking to engage the whole musical theater community and theater community to kind of really take a moment to boldly and deservedly celebrate trans artists. So I am, in the process of putting them together. We'll have more info soon. And there's going to be some events, some youth events, hopefully, that we are working on that are going to be free and virtual. And we're going to work on making them safe for people who need different links and stuff to attend them. So history, stay safe at home. That kind of can be fun, just fun classes and master classes and stuff for youth in the community. So that is the dream for Pride. That's kind of the big project right now. And I feel really good about that coming together and being able to promote that in the next few weeks. It'll be at the very end of June. The concert will stream at the very end of June. It's going to be free and virtual, and we're going to have a fundraising component. And come either watch or share or join us. And I'm very excited.
I'm very excited. Yay. What's your handle? Tell everyone where they can find you.
So it was like support the trans community and nothing else, which is kind of how I feel. It's just at Preston Max Allen on Instagram and Twitter. Don't find me on TikTok. It's not worth it. That is where everything happens, and just be prepared for cats and pretty sometimes fairly risque photos like that. I know that I do that sometimes, and then a lot of discourse.
Excellent.
A lot of discourse.
Lots of discourse.
That's the dream.
Yay. Y'all can find me at Blayze Show. That's BWAYSHO, as you see here from this wonderful illustration from Chelsea Hill, aka Illustrating Diva. And we've got Blayze Show podcast for all of your Blayze Show, the podcast needs. And we have some exciting announcements coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. And y'all can find the Showtreons. That's the Blayze Show Patreon squad. If you want to join the community, it's super fun. We do weekly trivia and monthly video chats. And it's just a really fun community that supports one another. And Grogu supports it, so shall you.
This is, if you ever need a hype person holding a doll enthusiastically, this has become my favorite thing to do, is just hype you up and look at your beautiful look.
I feel so inspired right now. I feel like I can take on the world because of you and Grogu. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. It's 80% Grogu, 10% me, and 10% the essence of my cat, who, as I said, you need to see to close us out, in her yoga studio.
Yes!
Extra cute.
Get that good stretch. Wait, show that again?
Paws and Purrs Yoga Studio. It is truly a cardboard box I got from Target. But look at that beautiful, comfy cat who I will scratch, but I'm not holding a laptop that I could just truly drop to.
Yes. Well, you go take care of that adorable cat. Scratch, go, scratch. I will go take Slimbo out to the field, who will just have quite the day. Loves running around.
This has been one of the highest points of my quarantine of my whole year. This has been a joy.
What a lovely thing to say. I feel the same way about you.
Well, if you ever need a fun court jester to some degree, I'm here.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for watching and commenting along. This was so lovely. Your energy, you really brighten my day and my spirit. And sometimes we just need that, there's so many hard things going on and you talk about so many important issues, but your energy is so infectious. And I appreciate you sharing that with us today.
Thank you very much. I am having a good day, doing well, and as always, energy is partially brought to you by checking in with my mental health and my therapist and my medications.
Yay!
About that. Take care of yourself, and always stay safe and stay healthy. That's the priority.
Yes, stay safe, be healthy, and we'll see you at the show. Bye, y'all.
Bye.